the world. And I'm not saying there is not a...
Well, you know, when I look at this, the one thing that really gets me about the one world religion is that it has been obvious from the very beginning that there has been a push to bring all Christianity under one command, so to speak. And that command was to get them underneath the Vatican.
That's right.
So regardless of who's going to control the New World Order itself, when it comes to Christianity, they wanted to put all Christians underneath the Vatican and under their control. This is what the Nostra Aetate, the agreement between the Vatican and Israel, that was one thing. But before they could even do the Nostra Aetate, Rome had been very busy getting all the different denominational religions and non-denominational religions underneath that umbrella. Which, by the way, if you attend a non-denominational church, ask your pastor. You'll find out they are sponsored by a denominational church, especially if they're 501c3. Now, if they're not a 501c3, then they're not under any organization. And that's an important thing. They're independent,
yes.
So they have more freedoms.
Now, Steve, this is going on for decades now, long time, that they are putting Protestant evangelicals all under Catholics or Vatican, and they're coming together as one, right?
How many times have we shown the videos where when a pope is elected to their spot? We're going to have to replace that light. That light is constantly going out. But as the churches would come in, all the different denominations would go there to swear their allegiance to the new pontiff. We saw this with Pope Benedict. We saw it with Pope Francis. And you listen to them. You know, they come up. You know, the head of the Baptist organization, the head of the World Council of Churches, the head of... or whatever it may be. So they're all under one religion.
So when the Nostra Aetate was signed in October 1965, Steve, and then it was always redefined and it was re-signed over and over and over. In fact, more recently, Steve, a few years back, it was supposed to be re-signed again. You were talking about Nostra Aetate a lot. And that was what was your worry back then about Nostra Aetate, which is about relations between Vatican and Jews specifically?
Yeah, so when I first began to really look at this, my concern is that the Vatican was encroaching upon Judaism, and that we wanted our Jewish brothers and sisters to recognize Jesus as Messiah. And the last thing I wanted is for them to think that the Vatican was the authority for the gospel of Jesus Christ, right? You know, so this was my big concern with the Nostra Aetate, is that we saw this ecumenicalism coming together to become one with Israel, and that they were going to try to bring about and say, well, this is really what the truth is. And so I saw this, and I realized scripturally that they were fulfilling biblical prophecy. In Obadiah's prophecy, you know, specifically about where the Pope drinks upon the mountain there.
Right. You didn't think that Jews should be listening to Pope or come under the umbrella of the Pope.
No.
But you know, Nostra Aetate has been signed. It was on the outside as an showed to people, oh, now it's the positive relations between Pope, Vatican, Christianity in general, because now Pope represents Christianity in general, because all of the Protestant religions are under Pope now, right? They all signed, they said we no longer have a protest, right? We know about that.
Well, so, it also does something else that's very dangerous as well, and that is the bringing the Vatican to get all these different denominations under one religion sets a precedent for being able to pass laws in the United States. Because now every single faith that there is in Christianity basically has one head. And by putting them all together, and for them also to be in agreement with Israel's religious elite and for the government of Israel, because it was not just signing the Nostra Aetate, joining the Jewish faith and the Christian faith. This was literally putting a document that bound the state of Israel itself with Christianity. And having all the Christians under one umbrella now gives them the political support needed in the United States to pass laws in order to make those in agreement with what the state of Israel would like to have as well.
So, the big surprise for me, Steve, is I was doing more and more research, and we know about Noahide laws already, but big surprise was that in this Nostra Aetate and this agreement between Christians and Jews, Judaic Jews, meaning Talmudic Jews, okay? The big surprise, Steve, is that Catholics, Vatican, is redefining their faith in favor of Noahide laws.
Well, we kind of saw that coming already.
We saw it, but not before. We didn't know.
No,
right?
we did not know it before.
So the laws of Noah will be one world religion. And here, this is written by Michael Lowrigan. This is actually very difficult and long document to read, but I will kind of try to, we will give you links, but I'm going to kind of summarize it for you, and we will read few points of what is actually happening in Vatican right now. And how can Jews and Christians supposedly have great relation? They view Noahide laws as a bridge between Christianity and Judaism. Now they can suddenly be friends. As we know, for the millennia, they couldn't be friends because these two religions were not reconciled, right? But now they're reconciled. It's all good. It's all nice. But Vatican has to actually redefine what Christianity is. And if Vatican redefines Christianity, Steve, then all that Christendom underneath of them that is already joined to Vatican will have to redefine the Christianity with the Vatican.
What will that mean then eventually? You will have to deny
Jesus,
your belief
right,
in Jesus Christ as the divine Son of God.
That's right. Now let me... I kind of wrote a little summary so we don't read the whole article, right?
Okay.
It was a Catholic cardinals and bishops, Cardinal Lustiger in particular. He says Jews, and that's after Nostra Aetate, what they agree on now, okay? Vatican agrees and preaches to their cardinals. The Jews are priestly people who are to bring salvation to mankind.
Oh my God.
So you have to understand they are changing and shifting their focus from Jesus as bringing salvation to Jews bringing salvation. Okay? Now, they are called the priestly nation. We know that quoting the New Testament, when Peter was addressing the group of Gentiles, he said, you are peculiar people. You are priests unto God.
Right,
so
right.
To be a priest in Christianity, in true Christianity, if you are a priest unto God, okay, it's not based on race. You don't have to be Jewish. You can be, but you have to believe in Jesus as Messiah.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
We all, Jews, Gentiles, we're all priests. Right. Unto God, okay? There's one mediator between God and man.
That's right, the man
and
Christ Jesus.
And it is the man Christ Jesus. But, okay, so this is a new understanding of Vatican. Jews are priestly people who are to bring salvation to mankind. Now, I'm going to read words of that particular bishop, or cardinal, actually.
And that is in this document.
Oh yeah,
right
this
here.
document.
Okay.
It's hard
so
to
you
read.
guys know, we'll put this in the description below, but it is in this document.
Yeah,
that
and this document
from.
describes all of the meetings between Jewish organizations and Vatican,
Okay.
what they agreed upon. It's a very difficult article to read for me because of English, really. The way it's written, it's really scholarly. But people can do it. I did it like twice, and I tried to summarize it, and we're going to read some of the paragraphs for people.
Okay.
Okay? So it says, times have changed, Cardinal says. Time of contempt has passed, giving away to the time of respect, meaning respect to Jews, okay? The heritage will soon be rendered to its original owner, meaning Jewish people.
Okay.
The Jewish people, the true Israel. So now, in Christianity, the true Israel is the Jewish people, and it doesn't matter, they don't believe the Messiah. This is official doctrine now among cardinals.
Well, this is a dangerous precedent as well, because now this is acknowledging that the government, the secular government of Israel, are the true Jewish people. All right, and as well as the Pharisaic Talmudists,
Sanhedrin.
Now,
they're calling them true Israel.
Here's where. Let me let you finish reading it. I'm about to take and land in on this like an eagle grabbing a hold of a snake and ripping it apart.
Right, you can rip it apart, but let me read it, okay?
Okay.
So let me start again. The time, listen to every word so you can rip it apart, Steve. The cardinal's words. Times have changed. Time of contempt have passed, giving way to the time of respect. The heritage will soon be rendered to its original owner. The Jewish people, the true Israel, once again have become the priestly people who will bring the authentic salvation to the nations, peace to the Gentiles, and the unity of which the world is so much in need. Okay, you can break it apart if you listened. I'm going to go and find paragraph 11.
Let's glide in on this thing like the eagle coming down with its talons and grabbing a hold of the serpent and ripping the serpent's flipping head off. All right, think about what Yana has just read right here, because the thing is the Catholic Church on our behalf is now given the Pharisaic rule complete control.
Exactly. When
Jesus left 2,000 years ago, that control was totally cut off, because as he said, you blind, you leaders of the blind, you serpents, you generation of serpents, you vipers, all the different names that he associated to the Pharisees, because that's really what they were. Now, and by the way, listen, I know there's some people out there talking, they're probably saying right now, quit saying Jesus, that's some kind of Greek thing, and you know you're wrong on that. I have got to bring up the book of Philip found in the Nag Hammadi library there that was over there in Egypt. He addresses that issue, and it's going to shock many of you, because he talks about the name Yeshua in Hebrew, but what it is in Greek, and he says in Greek it is Jesus, and that name specifically applied to the Son of the living God that came here. So, and I've always believed that each language should be able to say his name the way that your native tongue says it. You know, as my wife has Yezhish
in my country,
in her country,
Jesus Christos in Russian,
Jesus in Spanish, etc.
Right, exactly.
You know, not everybody's going to know how to say the name Yeshua because of all the different languages on the earth. Not to say you can't say it; it's an easy enough name to say, but I won't go into that right now. The point is that we are putting back into control. You're giving control. The Vatican is giving control to the very group that took and crucified Jesus Christ and put him to the cross and had the Romans kill him. Now, by giving them power once again the same way, what do you think they're going to do? They are going to crucify him again. Only this time, you're going to be the one that takes that place. As Jesus said, except that you take up your cross and follow me, you're not worthy of me. So I think some of us are going to find ourselves packing the cross and taking it up. So hey, facts are just the way it is. All right, paragraph 11
and 12 are just in the meantime.
All right, this one right here, right? This new awareness, starting there, right? This new awareness was condensed for the Catholic Church in the Second Vatican Council's Nostra Aetate Declaration in the last 30 years. It has given way to many comments, especially on the initiatives of Pope John Paul II. However, this new understanding still has to be remodeled in depth. The ideas of many peoples who belong to the Christian sphere, but whose hearts have not yet been purified by the Spirit of the Messiah. Historical experience shows us that lasting patience and many educational efforts are required to appropriate one's soul.
Okay, let me say, so this is a new understanding, new remodeling of Christianity.
Yes.
To basically, if you understand, to understanding the Jews of race, the physical Jews, are the priestly nation, okay? And also, I want to put a emphasis on the word educational efforts.
Yes.
Okay?
Everything's going in
Historical
education.
shows us that lasting patience and many educational efforts. This is why the builder, Schneerson's birthday and Noahide laws are put in education law.
bill,
It comes through education. Or basically, people probably heard before of re-education camps.
Yeah.
And huge re-education is about to take place in a soon future. So that's what you see. Notwithstanding, there is no steering away from direction we are now following. So basically, there is no steering away, Steve. We are never going to go backwards. Now it's forward only. So this is the change, official change in Christianity now.
Right.
This is why you see so many Hebrew roots coming in, you know, and putting emphasis on the law right now.
Right.
And of course, going back, because if you go back to the law, to Mosaic law, and you start keeping some of the 613 commandments that they have, and this kind of, services that people have, and messianic, and people will put kippah on, you know, the Gentiles who are calling themselves messianic congregations are putting kippahs on, which is totally rabbinic. It's not in the Bible, but Jesus-believing messianics are putting kippahs on, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
so
exactly
those
right.
kind of people are easy to really re-educate, and those are the ones who are becoming Noahites, because if you go and study who are actual Noahites today, who already converted to Noahidism, they're all 99.9% are ex-Christians. Okay,
Yes.
they are re-educated, and this is coming in a big way very soon. Now, of course, Nostra Aetate, Catholics, Christians, made agreement with Jewish organizations about not proselyting to Jews. That was the huge thing, Steve, of Nostra Aetate. They had to sign.
I remember that verbiage
Right.
in their writings on
And
this.
maybe before in the past, we kind of were confused about it, but now we understand why.
Yes.
In other words, according to Nostra Aetate, and a new Christian understanding, we are not to proselyte Jews, meaning we cannot speak to them about Jesus. Okay? We cannot go and proselyte them. It's not going to be allowed. Now, this is what Jews have accomplished with Vatican, and Vatican signed on to this. Our commissions as Christians is to do what? Preach the gospel.
Exactly.
This is the identity of our faith.
Exactly.
This is what apostles did to Jew and non-Jew. They did it to everybody.
And we were supposed to go to the Jews first.
Yes, exactly. So to actually, for the organization that now represents Christianity, because all of the Protestants are under them officially, okay, to actually sign with Jewish organization agreement that we're not going to proselyte you. And who is on it? Well, Haggai, right? Builds. And all of these kind of preachers, they don't want to proselyte to Jews no more. But the Jews are proselyting Gentiles.
Oh, they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job.
Right. So
the success. You know, Yana, that really gets me when I think about this, because I can't get over this enough. You know, I keep what comes in my mind over and over and over is the dream that God gave me many years ago, and that was this serpent that came after me. And this serpent, he come after me, and in the dream I had a dagger, not a sword, but a dagger. And I struck that serpent in the side of its face. And we're talking about a serpent with a head that was this big around. You know, I'm talking about make a boa constrictor look like a little candy cane. And he come flying through the air to strike at me. And I hit him in the side of his face. He went away. And a voice spoke to me and said, when he comes again, he will be far more vicious than he was the first time. And when he returned, he came with a vengeance like never before. And something spoke to my heart and said, you must cut his head from his body. And I ended up grabbing a hold of that serpent. I was on the serpent, and I was cutting away at the back of his head, cutting through his head to cut his head off, and I came out of the dream. And I've always wondered.
That's what you're doing now. You're cutting
exactly
the head, because you're exposing
whacking
the
away.
head of the serpent.
Right. Now the head of the... And I have wondered for years, and I've prayed, and I've asked God, what does that mean?
Wow.
And ever since this revelation has come, not only the revelation of you pulling out this information here, but then when he revealed to me that the Pharisaic root that Jesus spoke about, and I had the very book, the Hebrew Matthew, that Jesus says that they were the seed of vipers. I realized then, just like Jesus, he crushed the serpent's head. That's what he was to do, was to crush the serpent's head. The serpent bruises his heel, but the thing is, you got to cut it off.
Cut it off, exactly. Well, Jesus is going to do a final blow.
Yes.
But we are exposing the head of the snake.
Yes.
Right now. And you know what's the big surprise? Before, when we were Yazan and Steve, we were so afraid Jews are going to come on the Vatican and Pope is going to be all this,
Yeah, I was more worried about that. That's true.
Exactly. But now look what happens. Actually, Vatican...
It was the other way around. The Vatican is going under submission to gosh, do you guys get this? Do you really get what Yana is talking about here? I mean, the thing is Jesus said to the apostles, you are the light of the world. You do not put the candle under a basket. What have they done? They've taken your light, and the Jews have put the basket over your candle to shut you up.
And Vatican has signed on to that. And keep in mind, they're not signing on with Jews who just study Old Testament. These are Talmudic Jews who study Talmud, Zohar, and Kabbalah.
Yes.
And they are cooperating, going under submission under them, which all of their documents, all of their agreements prove it. And now I'm getting understanding that Noahic or Noahic religion is going to be New World religion, Stephen.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
All right, and let me say something to you guys, because I know that some people are just don't understand, and they would think, oh my gosh, you guys are anti-Semite. You're really missing the point if you believe this way. And let me explain to you why. Our desire is to win our people to Christ. Exactly. And what the only thing we're having to do in the process of trying to win them to Christ is we have to stop now and educate our own brothers and sisters to say, wait a minute, our duty is to be a light to the world, to the Jew first, the Gentile second. And what's happening is they're putting a stop from you being allowed to be that light to them first.
When they call you anti-Semite, they immediately shut you up so you cannot expose Judaism, Talmudism.
And this is what all this is all about. They've gotten the Vatican to shut up, and that's why the Vatican brought you under their umbrella.
Right, so you shut up.
And now they're putting all the secular laws in place, and this is why the Christians are not standing up in America and opposing the laws that are being passed now. When Congress went up there, and without any question, every single congressman, Democrat, Republican alike, they signed off on the anti-Semitism bill so that you don't speak or criticize Israel. Why? Because all their different churches and denominations that all these guys belong to, Episcopalian, Presbyterians, whatever have you, Baptists, etc., they all are underneath the Vatican, and the Vatican's already told them to shut your mouth and go ahead and sign up.
Mm-hmm. All right, Stephen, let's read
the pain is going away.
We need to... That's great, Steve. Okay, we need to... Here we go. Read entire section from purification.
I will.
Till the very end. We're going to stop as we feel the need.
All right. I just got one question before I start reading. Do you love me?
Oh, very much so. Why do you ask?
I love you too.
I love you too.
I just want to ask.
Okay, let's go.
All right. From purification to the introduction of the Noahic
or Noahic, basically.
Noahic religion.
Yeah.
And this is in the document. What was the name of the document
Maybe
here?
This is actually summary of Nostra Aetate.
Okay.
And then all of these meetings between Jews and Christians.
You know, had we taken the time, and we didn't,
specifically.
and it's my fault, had we taken the time and read this whole document on Nostra Aetate back then, we would have figured it out earlier.
Yeah, I mean, where it all leads. You know, and I think it's Catholic, right?
And my apologies. I really sincerely apologize. And I realize that there's a reason for everything, but I wish we could have been exposing this clearer in the beginning. All right, so anyway, purifying the Christian sphere. Oh my gosh, I hate the very first words. Christians first said, we too are Israel. Then they said, we too are the true Israel. And finally, we alone are the true Israel. The debates subsequent to Vatican II's new awareness have little by little prepared the Christian world for a new theology of the relations between the Church and Judaism, to change our mentality by many educational efforts. There it is again, education.
Right.
Aimed at those of the Christian sphere. Such was the object of the directives issued by the Vatican and by the various episcopacies, thank you, for nearly 40 years. This effort tends toward...
Now, read this slowly.
Okay.
Number
you
one.
Notice the girl with the fifth language as English has to correct the redneck here for how to say a word.
Let's go.
Emphasizing the permanence of the first covenant.
Okay, so basically, look, he's describing what the changes are in Catholic religion and all the Christianity underneath of Catholics, which are now officially Protestants, right? Okay, emphasizing permanence of first covenant. So we have to emphasize the Old Testament now.
Okay.
Do you see that steering away from the New Testament lately?
Yeah.
I've been noticing this more and more.
Yes, yes.
Okay, number 2.
Teaching respect for the unbelieving Jewish people, a priestly nation.
That's what I told you.
Now, I've always taught from Old Testament anyway, so I mean, that's just because I'm trying to get, never mind, we won't go into that right now. So.
Okay, but do you understand that teaching respect for unbelieving Jews is a priestly nation? Now tell me, how can a Christian organization say that unbelieving Talmudic Jews are actually priestly nation? Would Jesus agree with that? Can they be priests unto Jesus?
Yeah, you can't. That's the problem. This is where this is the whole issue. How are you going to get
to the Father? Because Bible teaches, right? New Testament teaches, unless you have the Son.
Yeah, you can't get to the Father.
You can't get to the Father. So how can they be priests? Okay, next. Renouncing all attempts to convert the Jews. We already talked about it.
Ooh,
we cannot talk Jesus to
That's
Jews.
the explosive one for me, boy.
Constantly advancing dialogue and cooperation with Judaism. Don't we see now, Steve? We are cooperating with our Jewish brothers who are Judaics, basically Talmudists, Kabbalists.
Yeah.
Now we have this great understanding. And I don't know about what. But
let's back up to number 3, though. Renouncing all attempts to convert the Jews. You know, my desire, I don't want to convert anybody. I want to lead them to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're just going to go out and proselyte and convert to be Baptist, Methodist, Pentecostal, Presbyterian, Catholic, you're still just a convert. We need to get them to Christ. Because His converts are born again.
Right.
And until they're born again, they're no priest.
That's right. And look at number 5, Steve. The new changes.
Preparing the way toward a Noahic religion.
Noahic or Noahide. Let's call it Noahide religion. Now that's officially in a creed now. In Vatican. They're preparing the way to Noahide religion. 7 Noahide laws. Okay. Now let's see what does it say in... Okay, now let's skip to, there was a meeting, European Jewish Congress organized meeting between Jews and Catholics, January 28, 29, 2002 in Paris.
Right.
Okay, all of these points were kind of spoken in there. And they talked about tikkun, all right, you know, tikkun, which is reparation. And they talked about how Christians are to respect the Judaism or
right.
adherence to Judaism, so we have to respect them. Now,
Can you
let's go down
Pass me a pen, please.
to right here.
Thank you.
There is a part, Stephen, where it's... Oh, how did I get here, Steve?
Oh,
That's because I am
glory
doing
to
this
God.
from
Hallelujah.
your side. You should be doing it.
By the way, seeing she popped up on that page, let me just say real fast.
Toward Noah.
I know some of you guys, you were watching the video we had loaded by accident earlier. That is actually a Patreon video. We didn't want it on this channel because there is too much risk of that causing us to get our channel shut down. We will discuss it. We may take and open it up. It is loaded originally in Vimeo under my name, Stephen Ben Noon, Ben-N-N-U-N on Vimeo. What I could possibly do is actually put that to where you can view it there if you still want to go see it. But no, we can't load that video here on Israeli News Live. There is too much risk of the channel being shut down, so we apologize for that.
Anyway,
I loaded it by accident yesterday. I hit the wrong title and it loaded it up.
Okay, let's read the part. Toward a Noahic or Noahic religion.
Yes.
So,
if the church is no longer the... let me turn around and read it because they won't hear it if you don't turn around. The Veris Israel, what does she become in the new theology of salvation?
okay, so we have a new theology of salvation, guys.
Yeah, did you notice that verbiage?
Yeah.
This study is already lengthy, and it is not the place to present all the aspects of the Noahic religion. This religion, introduced with Vatican II, is destined to supplant Catholicism. Whoa.
Okay. That's right.
Whoa.
The Vatican II Council.
This is why these sisters, listen, you sisters that were there at the Orlando meeting about a year ago, I wish you guys would get in touch with me again. Y'all told me then that that the Catholic Church had been overtaken by the Jesuit Pope, who was actually a Jew, secret Jew, masquerading in there, and it was not the true spirit of the real Catholic people. We are better understanding what you guys were saying. All right, the subject is so vast that a colloquium could easily be consecrated to it. We will give a few historical markers and point out various aspects of this new Catholicism.
What's a new Catholicism? Is Noahidism, Steve.
After the French Revolution, which emancipated the Jews and permitted them to enter civil societies, the rabbis and Jewish thinkers considered the religious aspect of the world they were bringing into being. It would also be necessary to resolve the religious problem that would most certainly arise. What was at stake in these theological debates between the rabbis of the 19th century can be summarized as follows. When we will have recovered our role as people called to bring salvation to the Gentiles, what will be the religion of Christians who imagine themselves to be the new Israel?
So they're asking, the Jews of 19th century were already saying, when we get this new role of bringing salvation to Gentiles, what will be this new religion? Okay, let's keep reading.
Okay.
It's kind of hard reading, Steve, isn't it?
I'll read it. That's no problem.
But let's see. Here it is.
All right.
Elijah
Ben Moshe, the rabbi of Livorno, the plateau of Italian Judaism and one of the masters of contemporary Jewish thought, proposed a solution that he published in 1884 in his masterwork, Israel and Humanity. The subtitle is evocative, a study on the problem of universal religion and its solution. Ben Moshe solutions around which would rally little by little the supporters of Judaism can be summarized as follows. The Catholic Church should reform her teaching on 3 points. She should, A, change her way of looking at the Jews, rehabilitating them as the elder people, a priestly people who was able to maintain the primitive religion in its original purity. It is a people neither decided nor rejected by God, nor curse ways upon it. On the contrary, it is destined to propose happiness and unity to all humanity, to recognize its functions, writes Gerald Haddad, citing Ben Moshe, which Paul thought he could eliminate.
So basically, the first change...
I really want to speak on that issue right there.
The first change should be to rehabilitate the Jews as a priestly people.
In other words, putting them back in their place to where they were 2,000 years ago before 70 AD.
You know what? That was already in talk in 19th century, but look what's happened. All these progress and where we are right now. Where we are right now. Okay, but now, look at this. They say that they were able to maintain primitive religion in its original purity. That's a false statement.
Yes, it is.
Because original Judaism or original faith is not Talmudic belief or Zohar or Kabbalah. So they didn't preserve original faith of the prophets.
And that's what I want to address.
Okay.
Let's back up for just one moment. Israel went into captivity as a result of her sins against Jesus, Yeshua himself. He was crucified, they rejected their Messiah, and they went into exile as a result. The scripture plainly, Daniel prophesied it would happen, they did it, and this is what took place. Now the problem I see, and this is the most serious problem that has happened in all of our history as a Jewish people, and I'm speaking in light of the Jews that have not recognized Yeshua as Messiah. This is the one time we have gone into exile that we have not acknowledged our sins. Every time we've been exiled, it is for a sin that we have committed. God, listen, I can prove it. God said to Abraham, he said, if there were 10 righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, he would spare the entire city for those 10 righteous. And you rabbis, you Orthodox Jews out there, whom I love you, but you sit there and you try to pass the buck on Jesus and his apostles and say that Daniel chapter 11, the violent amongst your people, would bring about the calamity of Israel. Speaking about. All right, let me look at this paragraph right here. Change her. Okay, Jews. Okay, yeah, because we're talking about the rehabilitation.
Yes, we were talking about how the changes in Catholicism, the proposed changes, long time ago. Now these are already set in after Nostra Aetate, Steve. So we talked about first, and the second one would be what?
Renounce the belief in the divinity of Jesus, the Son of Man, as he called himself. Jesus was a simple rabbi, and so he remained, preached Jesus Christ, but a human Jesus Christ coming to bring a certain moral code for the happiness of all men. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Yeah. Now we knew this already. We've told the people this is what the Pope has done. Hello! I mean...
That was already 100 years ago. Proposed in 19th century. They already had a plan. Okay, how they're going to be in the land of Israel.
Oh, I know what we want.
And how Christians have to change. The second one is to renounce belief in divinity of Jesus. This is what I'm saying. All these Christian religions that call themselves Christians, who do not believe Jesus is God in flesh, are okay. They are already considered Noahide religions, like Jehovah's Witnesses are, for example. They will have no problem, okay? So that is already now in Nostra Aetate.
Wait a minute. Remember what you've never brought this out yet. You know it, you've held it in, you forget to speak about it. Who owns stock in the Jehovah's Witness organization?
Well, the Chabad. It's basically entire watchtower is just a front, okay? It's a money laundering scheme. They launder money through this organization, but it's actually Chabad Jews. The Jehovah's Witness organization, there is stock that can be bought in this organization? I'm
not
sure, Steve. We just know that Chabad Jews run it, that these 8 people who are considered a governing body. These are just puppets of the Chabad who are in the shadows, running the whole deal. Because you found the evidence where Chabad Jews, in fact, Menachem Schneerson's name was one of the names on there. He used to be a president of this organization. Let's keep going. Accept a reinterpretation, not a suppression, but just reinterpret mystery of Trinity. Okay, so all of this is already in Christianity, officially in agreement with the Jews.
And this is part of Nostra Aetate.
Yeah, it's Nostra Aetate and all kinds of other agreements, Steve. Okay, so this is, this particular person is criticizing it, and it's written in such a high English, it's so hard to read and understand, but it's a very long one. Let's keep reading it because we have so many slides again, and I won't be able to finish again.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
One of these three conditions, the Catholic Church, is the Church of true Catholicism, a true Catholicism that Ben Moshe names Noachism.
So again, stop. What is true Catholicism now?
It's Noachism. Noahide believers. The religion for all those who belong to the Christian sphere, as Lustiger calls it. This Noachism possesses a morality that church is called to reveal the peoples of the earth. The American Judeo-Episcopal Declaration of August 12, 2002 refers to it explicitly.
That's what I'm telling you. They have American Judeo-Episcopal Declaration, 2002. What do they say?
Now we're going to read what they say. Judaism assumes that all people are obligated to observe a universal law. That law, spoken of as the 7 Noahide commandments, is applicable to all human beings. These laws are: 1. Establishment of courts of justice so that law will rule in society, and prohibitions of a court of justice.
Blasphemy.
Prohibitions of 2. Blasphemy. 3. Idolatry. 4. Incest. 5. Bloodshed. 6. Robbery. And 7. Eating of the flesh of a living animal.
So basically, do you see what New Catholicism is, the 7 Noahide laws?
Now,
this is already in their agreements.
And the thing is you get people like Dr. Brown that's saying that this is never going to be any issue.
Pass. And now Vatican and Jews are already having agreements. It's already passed. It's signed. Nostra Aetate signed it. Agreement signed it. It's all done. And he's saying it will never come and become.
All right.
You know, I don't understand.
And listen, guys, if you guys are over there on Michael's channel there,
I don't want. Steve, please don't ask nothing.
No, I'm not asking them to do anything. I'm just asking people don't go in there and be rude. You know, because I know we hear the things, and then people go out there. They're ready to fight.
You know what? People have right to their feelings.
No, I'm just.
I'm not telling people what to do.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going here. The new end of the church will be, what's the end of the church?
Will be the evangelization of nations to this Noahic humanitarianism as well as their unification.
So unification of all the churches into Noahic humanitarianism.
No wonder why they took the 10 Commandments out.
No wonder it's signed as a resolution under public law in America every year, Steve.
Yeah.
Vatican is already signed and UN is signed and I mean, it's already
the
done.
Primacy,
and done. Like
this is why George H.W. Bush was saying the laws of the land.
Yeah, when he said it will be rule with the law or the law.
Rule of law.
Rule of law. Remember?
You can count on it. I'm George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, exactly. Stephen, make sure that they are hearing us, that they continue seeing us and all that stuff.
All right, guys.
Are you guys back? The grade is okay. You're back. Please let us know.
Thumbs up if you hear everything and we back on live and you guys aren't missing anything. Yes. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, we are. Okay, great. Just want to make sure nobody's missing anything.
We never are even away from slide 1. How are we going to get through 8, Steve?
We're not.
We're not. So maybe we need to do part 2 tomorrow.
Part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay, so here we go.
All right, the new end of the church will be the, okay, we already got that. We read the laws.
Noahism right here. Noahism will be the religion of natural morality based on 7 Noah laws.
Okay, this is a new one. I'm sorry. The new end of the church will be the evangelization of nations to this Noahic humanitarianism as well as their unification. The primacy. We say primacy in English. Of Rome will be redefined to facilitate the unity of Christians. Wow. Noahism will be the religion of natural morality.
So we'll see ecumenism, unity of all.
For in no way must the non-Jews seek to convert to Judaism or Talmudic Mosaism, a religion that is reserved for the chosen people.
So you cannot become a Jew. That's a no-no, right?
The Ben Moshe solution, long neglected, is now being adopted by the authorities of the Jewish world. The chief rabbi, Rene Samuel Surratt, for example, alluded to the status of the non-Jews at the funeral of a young Frenchman of 24 victim of a terrorist attack against the cafeteria of the Hebraic University of Jerusalem, July 31st, 2002.
Anyway, this is, let me see how much. Okay, you can read this one paragraph.
Okay.
And we'll go to
David, my dear David, you had chosen to draw near to our Jewish community spiritually and culturally and to claim for yourself the beautiful title of Gur Toshav, denoting one who is at once stranger and citizen to Judaism, such as was praised in the Bible and marvelously rendered explicit in the last century by the Rabbi Elijah ben Moshe in his book Israel and Humanity. It is a question of free decision to draw close to the tradition of Israel, to observe the 7 laws called the Noahic laws of natural morality revealed long ago to Noah, father of all the living. For is it necessary to repeat that one is not obliged to convert to Judaism in order to merit eternal salvation?
So basically, let's summarize it, Steve. The new changes in, well, it happened actually 20 years ago, in 40 years now, in Austria, Tat in 1965. It was re-signed again and again and again, redefined. So what is here the summary? You cannot proselyte the Jews. Divinity of Jesus is out.
Yeah.
One, ecumenism, universal unity of all Christians under what? Noahide religion, Noahide laws, rule of law, and basically under rabbis, right? Okay, so here we go. Proof. It's already signed. Agreements are made. So I don't understand again. I don't understand, Steve, all these pastors who say, oh, it will never pass. It's never going to be.
It's never going to be an effect.
It's already decided in Vatican and Jewish circles. The New World Order religion is no.
Different denominations are already quoting it and going by it.
Exactly. So it is already decided. It's Noahide laws. It's a new Catholicism.
A new world order.
Yeah, they actually, Stephen, they call it new Catholicism. Okay?
Vomitism is what they should call it.
Exactly. Let's go to slide
when Jesus said, or the scripture says, they crucify Christ afresh and put him to an open shame.
Yeah.
When you reject the gospel of Jesus Christ and you have embraced the very Talmudic tradition of Pharisaism that was 2,000 years ago, you have now put yourself on the side of the Pharisees that crucified him the first time, and now these so-called Christians that have no right to take the name of Christ are following in the footsteps of the Pharisees to crucify Christ the second time around with your own actions.
Okay, slide number 2, please.
Oh, we made it to 2. What do you know? Amazing.
Okay, here we go. That was my email to you.
Now I'm going to back up just so we can see where we're at here. Orthodox rabbi issued a historic statement of cooperation with Catholic Church, Living Faith, Home and Family News, Catholic Online, name of the article. And
so basically they are cooperating together. I want you to read point 3 and point 6.
Okay. Point 3, as did Maimonides and Yehuda Halevi.
Maimonides, Rambam.
Right. And Yehuda Halevi, we acknowledge that Christianity is neither an ancient nor an
accident nor
an era, but the willed divine outcome and gift to the nations. In separating Judaism and Christianity, God willed a separation between partners with significant theological differences. By the way, this is not our opinion, okay? Clarify that one.
No, Stephen, just read it.
Not a separation between enemies. Rabbi Jacob Emden wrote that Jesus brought a double goodness to the world.
Now, well, listen, I have to remind you when this happened, okay, and when they said this, that they already say that Jesus is only a rabbi. Now, remember when Michael Brown and a lot of other people who say they're believers in Jesus, but they have, the Jews has embraced Christians. There is something called shituf.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can have a partner to the Father. That's allowed. Now, that's a temporary arrangement. Again, I'm repeating myself from previous
It's better
programs,
to reinforce.
but I want you to understand that even Jews are now talking about Christianity as, it's not an accident. Jesus was good. Only some Jews. Because it actually is coming to Noahidism. And if your Jesus is only a prophet and a good man, that's shituf. You allowed. Okay, but only now. In a book of Divine Law by Rabbi Weiner, who wrote a book for Noahites, specifically says that even this will not be allowed. Okay, so it's just a temporary bridge.
Right.
But this won't be allowed. And I want to, so look, keep going.
So on the one hand, he strengthened the Torah of Moses majestically, and not one of our sages spoke out more emphatically concerning the immutability of the Torah. On the other hand, he removed the idols from the nations and obligated them in the 7 commandments of Noah, so that they would not behave like animals of the field, and instilled them firmly with the moral traits.
That's where we're going to stop here. This is what I want you to understand, what they're talking. This is rabbis, okay? And they're saying about Jesus, he was a good man. What did he do? He removed idols from nations and obligated them in 7 commandments of Noah. Is this true?
No.
Did Jesus ever preach 7 laws?
Nope.
He never preached 7 laws as rabbis describe them. Where? Show me the New Testament. Since I ever heard about Jesus as a little girl, I have never heard that Jesus spoke of 7 commandments of Noah. Did you? Did anybody?
There's
did
no
any
such
of you?
thing.
Okay, so where do they get this from on their understanding?
It would be rude for me to say.
And then look what they say. So they would not behave like animals of the field and instill them firmly with moral traits. This comes from the belief of Judaism that Gentiles have animalistic souls. Steve.
Yes.
Judaism teaches that Gentile souls are from 3 satanic spheres and they are like animals. So in their eyes, not to be an animal, you have to be be on the 7 Noahide laws. And when you live on the 7 Noahide laws, you are ger toshav, a righteous Gentile. And now you're still not equal to Jew, but at least you're righteous, and these laws are preventing you from acting like animal.
Right.
So this is such a blasphemy. There is nothing nice or good about this. You understand me? Mm-hmm. This is actually an insult to Gentiles. And then go to 6.
Our partnership in no way minimizes the ongoing differences between the 2 communities and 2 religions. We believe that God employs many messengers to reveal His truth, while we affirm the fundamental ethical obligations that all people have before God that Judaism has always taught through the universal Noahide covenant.
Okay, so here we go.
Right in the very Catholic documentation.
In the Catholic documentations, Orthodox rabbis issued historic statement of cooperation with Catholic Church, and they agree on Noahide covenant or Noahide laws. So
this Pope right there, let me tell you something. He sold the Catholics out. He didn't just sell the Catholics out. He sold all denominations to the devil.
All of them signed up on the Pope, so now it's like they're under the umbrella.
Yeah.
Of Pope. So this is why you see these changes in Christianity now. Go to slide number 3.
Wow, we actually got 3 out of the 7. We're doing
Bilateral Commission meeting, Jerusalem, March 11 through 13, 2007. Okay,
right.
It was a meeting. All right, it was a delegation of Holy See's Commission for Religious Relations with the Jews, and a chief rabbinate of Israel's delegation for relations with Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. So these 2 met. Now go to point number 2, point number 3, and then last sentence.
The subject of the meeting was freedom of religion and conscience and its limits.
Okay, let's stop here. Freedom of religion and conscience. Sounds great. Read
Yeah.
next. And it's what?
Okay. The
Limits.
human
No, what I'm saying. And it's limits.
Yeah, and it's limits.
When you have a freedom of religion and conscience,
You don't have any limits.
you don't have limits. So what are the limits? The limits are, you can still call yourself Christian. That's your freedom. But the limit is that Jesus is no God anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly,
Okay,
which
so-
we've already read that too, in the other document. So, the human capacity to choose is manifestation of divine image in which all people are created, and the foundational for the biblical concept of human responsibility and divine justice. Now, you said read number 3.
Yes.
God has created the human person as a social being which by definition places limits on the individual human freedom. You do have freedom,
So,
limited freedom.
Look how freedom of religion and conscience, but places
Limited.
limits on individual human freedom. All right?
We're going under totalitarianism.
Yeah, so-
Moreover, freedom of choice is derived from God and therefore is not absolute.
Right. So you don't have absolute freedom of choice.
Nope, but
Guess what?
must reflect divine will and law.
You must reflect divine law. What is it for Gentiles?
Yep.
Ooh.
Accordingly, human beings are called to freely obey the divine will as manifested in the creation and in His revealed word.
And here we go. The Jewish tradition emphasizes the Noahide covenant as containing the universal moral code which is incumbent on all humanity. And they are saying that this is in Christian scripture in the book of Acts 15, 28, 29. Baloney. That's not in book of Acts.
No,
There
it's
is
not.
no 7 Noahide laws in book of Acts.
There's no 7
Okay.
Noahide laws in the
That's
Bible
right.
anywhere.
Let's go to slide number
4.
okay, and this one here is an official document of what we just read.
Yes.
Okay, so show
Okay.
them official document
Yep.
on the very
Yep.
beginning. They have it online. Yeah, this is their official.
This is right
this
out
is
of the Vatican.va,
Vatican's website.
Vatican's
They
website.
agreed on 7 Noahide laws and on this freedom with limits, whatever.
Yep, there
and
it
then
is.
Go down. These are the signatories to all of this. Go very down, Stephen. I'm just trying to rush you.
That's okay.
Okay, that was in 2007.
Chief
These
Rabbi.
are the rabbis, and these are the archbishops, bishops, and whoever, cardinals, whatever they are. Okay, so here we go. They have these meetings, Stephen, going on, and Noahide religion is decided as a new world order religion, the religion of the future, and some pastors have audacity to tell people that it will never come to pass, even though this is happening, even though it's been resigned year by year by presidents in United States, okay, and even though United Nations have already declared that's the religion for all
Right.
humanity.
And imagine it's already
So it's done.
Already
it's
done.
decided, and they're still saying to the flock, "Oh, no."
Be sure to have
that's
your
what
pastors
this
and
is-
friends watch this video.
This is
Share
unfair.
it. Be sure to thumbs up the video because believe me, they don't want this getting out.
And you know,
it needs to.
individual Jews know it. Let's play. Okay, what is the Jewish belief about Messiah? Chabad.org describes it perfectly. Let's
Okay.
read, Stephen, what sort of
What is
Messiah
the
will be.
end of days?
Right,
Is this where you
let's
want to go?
What sort of the Messiah he will be? Oh, it makes me so angry. Maybe I sound angry, and I don't want to sound angry. Oh, I just gotta calm down.
As long as you don't beat me up later, it'll be okay.
I want to beat up somebody else. What sort of Messiah he will be? I want to beat up all these
That's why I have to ask you if you
pastors.
love me. See?
Okay, Stephen, according to Jews in Chabad.org, what sort of leader will Moshiach
Mashiach be. Mashiach will be a man who possesses extraordinary qualities. He will be proficient in both the written and oral Torah traditions.
Okay, so-
he'll be a Talmudist.
Who is going to be the Messiah? A Jew. Stephen, a Jew.
Yeah.
A Jew.
But not just a Jew.
Talmudic
He's
Jew.
going to be a Talmudic Jew.
He will be proficient in oral Torah traditions. They wouldn't have it any other way. They would never take any Muslim or any Christian or any
And he's going to
secularist.
make sure that he consistently campaigns for Torah observance among Jews and observant of the 7 universal Noahide laws by non-Jews.
So the Messiah, according to Chabad.org and Jewish Talmudists,
He's a Noahide guy.
Yeah, he will make sure that you are under Noahide laws. So here it is. So how can anybody say, you know, did they do research, these pastors,
No.
Stephen, who say that this is nothing? This is absolutely insane. Do you understand why I'm angry right now?
Yeah.
It's insane. You know, but anyway. And let's go. What will
Next
happen?
slide.
No.
Oops, sorry.
What will happen? What sort of leader he will be? We already know. And when will he come? We'll give you links so you guys can kind of read it. Who the Messiah is, or actually anti-Messiah. This is why I no longer believe we should be supporting State of Israel. Because they're bringing this to happen. Because their cooperation with Christians.
Exactly.
If
you're going to support, you want to support Israel, support believers, especially believers that don't believe in this kind of nonsense.
Oh, this is
those that know they're going to be persecuted. That's who you should stand with.
What will happen when Messiah comes, right?
Yes.
Maimonides, or the Rambam, states in his Mishnah Torah, a compendium of the entire halakhic tradition, that Messiah will first rebuild the temple and gather the exiles. So we see that these temple preparations are already happening. In fact, I have something here for you to show you how close we are to the temple. Okay? Jerusalem and the temple will be focus of divine worship. However, who they going to worship? Talmudic God.
The devil.
Lucifer, holy serpent, Leviathan. Okay? From Zion shall go forth Torah and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. They are using our prophets, prophetic words of prophets, and using them to themselves, to the Sanhedrin.
Right.
Okay? Which we know that this will be fulfilled when Yeshua comes, the true Messiah. Okay? Now look what else will happen. The Sanhedrin, the supreme Jewish law court of 71 sages, will be re-established. You already know it is re-established. It is gaining more and more power, Steve. And will decide on all matters of law. So, we're going to be under who? Under Sanhedrin.
Yes.
Okay? They will decide on all matters of law.
Do not stand for the Sanhedrin. Do not promote Sanhedrin.
Don't promote the temple. Don't promote the Sanhedrin. No Trump on temple coin. This is all leading to all of this. Backstabbing of Christians. Okay? So here we go. Sanhedrin, at this time all Jews will return to full Torah observance and practice. And yes, Steve, it's not only the Gentiles we're talking about. They're targeting all Jews. All Jews will have to go on the 613 laws in a totalitarian New World Order, okay? It should be noted that in this present age of great assimilation and emancipation, an unprecedented return of Jews to true Torah values has taken place. They're calling it Baal Teshuvah phenomenon, is on the increase and paves the way for a full return.
They're calling this the Baal Teshuvah.
Yeah, so they're actually.
Now think about that. And the scripture prophesies that when they recognize Yeshua, they would no longer say Bali, Baal, but they will say Ishi. So you can tell just in the very verbiage I have there, they still are nowhere near where they need to be.
Can you go to omit slide 5, we'll come back to it in a minute. Go to slide 6 real quick.
This one here?
No, slide 6. Next one, we'll come back to that one. All right, here it is. This is from December 11, 2018, guys. From Breaking Israeli News and others picked it up as well. In Israel, a special golden crown is being created for arrival of the Messiah. So guess what? They are preparing the Messiah, which is basically our Antichrist or anti-Messiah. This is why supporting any of this, guys, this is extremely dangerous. This goes against, would Jesus support this? Would Jesus support this, Steve? Yeah, but we were once blind, Steve. But you know what? I understand when they're in the Zionist Christian movements, all of these Christians, but they need to be taught and they need to come out of that right now.
You know something I just realized, Jana? According to the Orthodox Jewish belief, the Mashiach being Yosef is a warrior, right? And will go and fight the wars in the Middle East, right?
Which they're doing
Which
now.
is their Messiah they're expecting before the Ben David comes. Now, if you think about it, what happened 2,000 years ago? The peace of Messiah. The true Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, He came. He was rejected. They requested the murderer to be released. That's the type Messiah they're wanting. Until their eyes can be opened to recognize that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, a murdering Messiah is what they will only accept. Death. Because Barabbas was the murderer.
Can you read it real quick?
Yes.
A little bit.
Okay. A Jewish rabbi that can trace his lineage directly back to King David has initiated a project to create a special golden crown for Messiah. According to Rabbi Yosef Berger, the coming of Messiah is drawing near, and so physical preparation should be made for his arrival. This is yet another example that shows how eager many Jewish people are for the Messianic age to begin. And Rabbi Berger actually believes that the creation of the crown will hasten the arrival of the king. Rabbi Berger, a direct descendant of King David, explained that the founding of the state of Israel and the Six-Day War were over miracles, and that we are today living in the beginning of the Messianic era, creating such a crown, he said, and uniting the 70 nations of the world around the project will hasten the arrival of the king for 2,000 years. Israel has waited for the Mashiach Messiah, Rabbi Berger said, as a symbol of our belief that this period of waiting has ended. We should prepare a crown, since the first act of the Mashiach will be to restore the Davidic dynasty, which will be visibly unlike any other kingship that has ever existed.
And you can read more. It says read more, so we'll give links to the people. But do you see how close we are, Stephen? They're not talking about Jesus Christ.
No, they're not. And that's another problem in itself as well. The only way that they can try to say that he's a direct descendant of David is through the Pharisaic line, which is the Hasmonean dynasty, which are not the true descendants of David to begin with.
We are not to prepare the crown for the Messiah. He is already has the crown now, and he will come with the crown. And it's just, Stephen, this is all their Moshiach, their serpent Messiah that they're preparing. And we can see that, again, friends, if you can reach many Zionist Christians. With Steve here, we are helping also pastors who are our friends, but they're pastors who are Zionist Christians. And we're our great friends and still are, but we are telling them this.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And
there's no sparing.
There is no sparing.
Regardless.
We are telling them this, meeting with them and telling them in private. Yeah. And we are giving them time to research this, to look at all the evidence and repent. Like we repented, repent of it. Yes. Okay? And
they were in shock. We have to admit, they were in shock, and they said, we've not researched it. We need to see research as well. So pray for these people that their eyes will be open.
Can you still go to that?
The one before?
That particular video of Rabbi Ariel.
This one?
Yeah, a lot of people send this to us, but I have played this video in our Kansas conference last year.
Yeah.
So I already showed him to people in Kansas when I was speaking, but start at 0.44 and try to translate for people. Now, before you start... Okay, 44? You are at 44?
We're at 0.44.
Okay. What I want to put your... attention to is that when he says that when we go and offer the nations the peace, the word peace, how are they gonna, what this word means? When they speak, they're offering you peace, they are offering you Noahide laws. Okay? And he will explain that. Okay. Meaning that peace and security, or peace, is Noahide laws for the nations.
Right. Okay, ready? Mm-hmm. What power does the Sanhedrin have with respect to other nations of the world?
Wow, big power.
Let's say that they come here and decide to put on trial and sentence to some punishment or other the Pope Francis or U.S. President Obama.
They're all non-divine.
Somewhere it is written what must be done about it.
You will cite Maimonides.
We read it earlier, although not all of it. This is the name of the Maimonides. Maimonides says, this is what the Torah commanded us, what Moses commanded us from the mouth of the mighty God. When Maimonides says this, it means that it is a commandment from the Torah to take action where it is written. Where is it written? We recently read Deuteronomy 20:10. When thou drawest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it.
Okay, he's citing Deuteronomy, Steve, Moses, saying that when you go to fight a city, proclaim peace unto it. How do they translate it, Talmudists? This is how.
Yes. What is meant by peace? Maimonides says that they must agree to follow the 7 Noahide laws.
Bible doesn't say it.
Yeah, Moses never said it either.
So, but their interpretation of offering peace is to do what?
Follow the 7 Noahide laws.
Follow 7 Noahide laws.
So again, for those of you out there, ministers out there that are watching this tonight, or watch it whenever you do watch it later, and you say that it's not being done, okay, your hand is called. There's no debate even needed when it comes to this. The evidence is there. If you deny the evidence, then oh well, you join up with those that will crucify Jesus afresh. Exactly. What can I say? And by the way, he said it in Hebrew just now. So, excuse me. So why do you call for war? Stay at home. Why go to war? Because it is a commandment from the Torah to take action. Just as there is a commandment to conquer the land of Israel, there is a commandment to fight sanctioned wars.
Now, you see, is there a commandment to fight sanctioned wars? That's what they believe, according to Talmud and Maimonides.
Talmud, yes.
That's why you see all these Middle Eastern wars for Greater Israel. Even now, Iran. This is the pre-planned war.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Netanyahu has been blowing the trumpet to go bomb Iran.
Exactly. And now it's happening.
Now he says to the United States, we don't want no part in that.
That's a lie. That's only so they look good, so nobody figures out that this war is for Israel.
Well,
that's why it is.
He does that, and plus too, he doesn't want Iran to drop bombs on Israel.
What is the motto of IDF? By deception,
we shall wage war. Continue. Okay. There are commandments. It is written. In sanctioned war, if you see an attractive woman, then there is another commandment.
This is out of Talmud. Can you marry the woman?
Can you marry the woman? If so, how? Etc. These are the commandments from the Torah. Who makes a decision to embark on a sanctioned war? King David asked the Sanhedrin, for example, may I embark on a war with northern Syria and Aleppo? Maimonides says that King David went to the Sanhedrin and asked them if he could go out and conquer. Everything that David did was sanctioned by the high court. That's what Maimonides says.
Does Torah say?
No. Then he went out to conquer northern Syria and Aleppo.
That's why they can go. This is crazy. This is all Talmudic.
Conquest by the people of Israel. Living in Israel and Jerusalem, you try them in court, northern Syria and Aleppo. You decide that they deserve all kinds of punishments and so on. You summon them to court. You know, this is being practiced today with little Palestinian children. 10-year-old little children go to a tribunal in Israel today for throwing a rock and get 20 years in prison.
Exactly, but no, he's talking about Sanhedrin court.
I know that.
According to Maimonides, and conquer all the neighboring countries, which they're doing for the Eretz Israel, for the greater. Let's keep going, Steve, because he will say how to kill them. And you decide whether to go for broke over it. That's not how it works. The law works differently for them. In Israel, you take the person and put him on trial. You take a convert to Judaism who did not follow the religious laws, you judge him and punish him. But non-Jews who do not follow the 7 Noahide laws, such as thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not steal, etc., you proclaim peace to them, meaning you ask them, do you follow the 7 laws? If so, we will allow you to live.
If not, you kill all of their males by sword. You only leave the women. Is that not hypocrisy? They want you to keep the 7 Noahide laws, and they say it's punishable by death, but if you break it, their law says you decapitate them, according to Maimonides and Rambam in his writings there. But now they got a new one. They make up laws as they go. So in this case, you'll just kill the guys. We're going to keep your women because we're going to rape them later.
Exactly, because under war, they're allowed, under Talmudic laws, they're allowed to actually rape women. I know.
I know that. How do you leave them? They must all agree to follow the 7 laws. And that is how you impose the 7 laws on that city.
Yeah, offer them peace. That's how they're imposing. I mean,
someone just said we don't have the might to fight.
Okay, we will leave them a link because how long are we here? I think
we're out of time.
We won't have time for the last slide. Maybe we'll pick it up next time, Steve. So we can just kind of conclude. Let's go see what they're doing in our chat.
Okay.
What people are saying. I hope we brought you enough evidence that these things are, guys, going on. They're all decided, predetermined. It's all signed. It's all ready to go. And New World religion will be Noahide religion.
Yes. We did record the broadcast. I'm going to stop the recording.
It says it works now. Something didn't work again.